Welcome to the Bustin' Chess channel, where you, the intellectually, philosophically, and psychologically curious people of the world, get to watch me, Justin, have an existential crisis on a weekly basis. I'm kidding, of course. Or am I? Some of you may know me from the past as Justin from Christian Truthers, where I was a full-time Christian researcher and Torah teacher for about 4.5 years. I tackled all types of topics, from New Testament apologetics, Old Testament historicity, prophecies, apostleship, the true community of Israel according to the Bible, the removed books, or the apocryphal writings if you prefer, ancient philosophy, biblical law, and so much more. If you were around for that part of my life, then you know that I amassed over 50,000 followers in the process of doing this, and my videos reached well over 2.5 million people on YouTube and my website. In these studies, I shared my perspective from my vast personal library of biblical literature in the original Greek, Hebrew, Syriac, and Latin languages. I was totally obsessed with finding out everything I could about the real story of this little thing called the Bible and the real story of the books that were added and removed from it. Literally, I became an obsessed Jesus freak, and Torah freak really, that simply would not quit. So let me give you an extremely short rundown and see if you can somehow relate to my experience. Ready? Since I was only a child, I followed a pattern of life that may seem incredibly familiar to many of you out there who were raised in one of the 40,000 Christian church denominations that currently exist today. Since birth, I have gone to every church gathering available. I went to Christian schools, Christian church, Wednesday night supper, and Sunday night sermons. In high school, I played on an all-Christian basketball team. I was pretty good at it too, I might add. I went to a Christian homeschool group, performed in Christian theater and musicals. I went to Christian youth groups every Friday night. I only hung out around Christian families, and I even only had Christian friends. 9/11 sort of messed up my holy streak, though, since my obsession with combat and movies like Black Hawk Down and The Patriot had me perfectly primed to join the Marines just 2 months after turning 18 in 2001. That's right, as soon as those planes hit the World Trade Center and knocked down Building 7, I was ready to trade in my big hopes for a college basketball jersey for the hope of a few combat deployments. Very long story short, I got more than my share of combat and deployments. Staying in the Marines for 13 years in total, I was a machine gunner, a combat instructor, a light armored reconnaissance platoon sergeant, a counterintelligence specialist, and I fulfilled many other roles and duties as well during my time, traveling to over 23 countries for training and other operations. But leaving the Marines in 2015 left a massive hole in my little existential heart. Finally being free to search and climb any proverbial mountain I wanted, I studied to finish both a bachelor's and master's degree in business, but ultimately I chose to focus all of my heart, soul, mind, and strength to finding the truth according to God's Word in 2017. That's when this channel, or this previous channel, was born, Christian Truthers. As I mentioned before, I had a ton of success with YouTube Christianity. I created hundreds of videos and studies, wrote a ton of articles, collaborated with a slew of massive Christian channels. I traveled across the country to conduct baptism events and much more. In 2019, for example, I was invited to attend 3 Christian and Torah-related conferences to be a key speaker to thousands. Working with other fledgling channels, I helped my partners grow their channels from just over 30,000 subs to well over 100,000 subs in just over 2 years. At one point, my online Bible study and research community had over 800 live, active members attending weekly scheduled studies for men, women, and children. I even had a handful of full-time volunteers to help coordinate all the chaos. It's safe to say I was very well entrenched in the deepest studies about the true nature of our Christian existence and the intricate aspects of the religion's oldest roots. Oh, and managing an online Christian community, good luck with that. The crazy journey came to a very strange twist ending, however, when my research and faith hit a brick wall in 2020. While researching and writing what would become one of my most important pieces of literature to date for a little mini book I was trying to publish, Suddenly, things took a very serious turn. You see, in 2020, I began to challenge the traditional Christian beliefs that Paul was a true apostle, one of the 12 disciples, which he's clearly not, by the way. This led to even more questions, which ultimately led me to embark on the journey of defending the most important character of them all, Jesus Christ, the Messiah. You see, I wanted to prove that even though Paul was conclusively a false apostle, that Jesus the Messiah could be defended and supported using both history and Old Testament as a resource. This work of art was called the Messiah Complex, and it consisted of 7 articles and studies that I personally wrote to prove that he, Jesus, was in fact the real deal. Being intellectually honest, that study actually caused me to come to the exact opposite conclusion. You see, during all my years as a professional researcher, I had made a massive error in judgment. In every other area of biblical study, I got very deeply into the details. I tried to study the historical perspectives, various texts in different languages, old and newer commentary concepts, and much more to try and arrive at the truth. However, I started off with one very big and very bad assumption, that the Bible itself was a true and original piece of work. This is an assumption that I admittedly grew up with and never fully questioned until I had already researched, written, and taught out of the Bible nonstop for nearly 4.5 years. Clearly, my perspective changed a lot. As I began to publish my reasons for leaving Christianity, my popularity quickly declined, as I knew it would, of course. Coming under heavy personal attacks, I was ridiculed, slandered, falsely accused, and lied about, even by my very own close friends that I had helped establish in this YouTube Christian community. I was so hurt by the total lack of scholarly rebuttal and empathetic leadership in the online community that I took down all my work off of my channel and decided I needed to focus my energy on my own emotional, mental, and psychological well-being and figure out who I am now that I was no longer part of this fictitious family of Abraham. I deleted much of my own works, including works I developed both supporting and deconstructing biblical philosophies. At the time, I didn't really want to create or participate in some kind of anti-holy war against Christianity, or a war with my friends and family who were so closely attached to it. So I walked away thinking I would find peace for myself and leave everyone else to do the same thing. Now, after a year of reading and writing and researching and psychotherapy and counseling, I can safely and accurately say that I'm finally ready once again to share my personal perspectives on the topics of Christianity, Torah observance, and just the Bible as a whole. Why the sudden change of heart? Well, there's 3 key reasons. Number 1, it's needed. Recovering from the psychological and emotional abuse that comes from living in a false reality of a fear-based control system is desperately needed. I genuinely hope I can help more people come to a deeper understanding of reality and free themselves from the psychological bonds that the Christian religion places on them. 2, it's what I love to do. Everyone who knows me personally knows that one of my favorite things that I'm most passionate about is challenging what I think I know about my favorite topics. My closest friends and family know that discussing existentialism, philosophy, religion, history, and science are by far my favorite things to do. There's literally no reason why I should not pursue my passion once again. And 3, I'm just not afraid. Clearly, I'm not afraid of the religious consequences of denying the authenticity of the Bible because I think the consequences are actually good, not bad. I've never been afraid to lose followers with challenging topical ideas. I've done it many times in the past, and these are no different. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself, and I believe that Christianity is the cause of many of those false fears. I'm simply not afraid. I'm not afraid of the ridicule. I'm not afraid of the slander, the mocking, and accusations. I'm not afraid of losing more subscribers, being judged, or condemned to hell. I'm truly free. So it's for those simple reasons and many more that I'm here to say that I'm back. So if you're ready, pumped, and excited about demystifying spirituality and the psychological construct of the Christian religion, then do yourself a favor and subscribe and click the bell notifications so you're notified every single time that I post. Share with your friends and your best buds and get ready for the facts, figures, and foolishness that your Christian ministers of fear are keeping you afraid to hear. Until next time, I'm Justin Best with Bust and Jest. Stay logical, stay rational, and stay away from mind control. Ramen.